History teaches us that silence in the face of injustice is never neutral, it always sides with the oppressor. From the Nakba of 1948 to the destruction we witness in Gaza today, ordinary people, Christians, Muslims, and Jews alike, have paid the price of violence and indifference. Their voices deserve to be heard. This presentation offers a comprehensive and balanced historical overview of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Our purpose is to illuminate the complex origins and ongoing dynamics of this enduring struggle. We will trace the path from borders drawn by empires to the UN partition, the Nakba, and the current war in Gaza. This conflict now presents a plausible risk of genocide, demanding urgent attention. Our aim is to explain the conflict's deep roots and explore concrete strategies to prevent mass atrocities. We seek to provide clarity and actionable insights for all concerned with justice and peace. The collapse of the Ottoman Empire after World War I fundamentally reshaped the Middle East. Its vast territories were divided, leading to new geopolitical realities. In 1922, the League of Nations granted Great Britain the mandate for Palestine. This mandate carried a dual and inherently challenging task. It was charged with safeguarding the civil and religious rights of all inhabitants. Simultaneously, it was mandated to facilitate the establishment of a Jewish national home, echoing the Balfour Declaration. These conflicting objectives inevitably led to rising tensions. Arab Palestinians and Zionist institutions found themselves increasingly at odds under British rule. The stage was set for future conflict. In 1947, the United Nations proposed Resolution 181, known as the Partition Plan. This plan recommended the creation of separate Arab and Jewish states, with Jerusalem designated as an internationalized city. The proposal was met with mixed reactions and ultimately rejected by Arab leaders. The 1948 war erupted following the Partition Plan and Israel's declaration of independence. This conflict resulted in the displacement of over 750,000 Palestinian Arabs, an event known as the Nakba, or catastrophe. Their descendants are registered with UNRWA in number in the millions today. 19 years later, the 1967 Six-Day War dramatically altered the regional landscape. Israel captured the West Bank, Gaza, East Jerusalem, the Sinai Peninsula, and the Golan Heights. This expansion of control profoundly impacted the lives of millions. Following this war, UN Resolution 242 was adopted, emphasizing the inadmissibility of the acquisition of territory by war. It called for Israel's withdrawal from occupied territories in exchange for peace and secure boundaries. This resolution became a cornerstone for subsequent diplomatic efforts. The 1990s saw the signing of the Oslo Accords, which created the Palestinian Authority. However, these agreements deferred critical final status issues, leaving many core disputes unresolved. This deferral contributed to ongoing instability. Since Oslo, settlement expansion in the West Bank has accelerated significantly. This growth of Israeli communities in occupied territory has been a persistent point of contention. It has fragmented Palestinian land and complicated the prospect of a contiguous state. Gaza has faced severe movement and access restrictions for many years. These restrictions intensified following Hamas's takeover in 2007, leading to repeated cycles of conflict. The humanitarian situation in the enclave has steadily deteriorated. The current Gaza war began on October 7, 2023, with a Hamas attack on Israel. This assault resulted in approximately 1,200 deaths and the taking of around 251 hostages. In response, Israel launched a large-scale military campaign in Gaza. The human cost has been catastrophic. As of a July-August 2025 snapshot, UN OCHA reported over 60,000 Palestinians killed, with thousands more missing. Gaza faces dire humanitarian conditions, including widespread hunger and a collapsed health system. It is important to acknowledge that disputes exist regarding the precise figures from the Gaza Ministry of Health. The international community has taken significant legal actions. The International Court of Justice issued provisional measures, finding a plausible risk of genocide and ordering Israel to prevent genocidal acts and enable humanitarian aid. the International Criminal Court prosecutor has sought arrest warrants for both Israeli and Hamas leaders for alleged war crimes and crimes against humanity. Furthermore, UN investigative bodies have alleged crimes against humanity in Gaza, underscoring the gravity of the situation. The conflict has profound religious dimensions, impacting various communities. Palestinian Muslim and Christian communities report restrictions and attacks, particularly concerning holy sites like Al-Aqsa Mosque and churches in Jerusalem. These actions are perceived as violations of religious freedom and heritage. It is also important to acknowledge Hamas's repression and violations within Gaza. Their actions have impacted the rights and freedoms of the civilian population under their control. This complex interplay of religious and political grievances fuels the conflict. In the United States, evangelical support for Israel is a significant factor. A sizable share of white evangelicals express highly favorable views towards Israel. This support is driven by Christian Zionism, a theological belief system. Key tenets include dispensationalist theology and biblical literalism, particularly interpretations of Genesis 12 verse 3. This verse, "I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you I will curse," is often cited as a divine mandate for supporting Israel. End times eschatology also plays a role, with some believing that the modern state of Israel is central to biblical prophecy. Recent polling consistently shows evangelicals among the most favorable demographic groups towards Israel. Addressing this crisis requires nonpartisan strategies grounded in international law and atrocity prevention best practices. Our collective responsibility is to move beyond rhetoric to concrete action. The prevention of mass atrocities must be our guiding principle. Early warning and prevention mechanisms are crucial. We must utilize the UN Genocide Convention and the responsibility to protect framework to monitor risks, facilitate mediation, and ensure civilian protection. Proactive engagement can save lives. Unfettered humanitarian access is non-negotiable. Binding mechanisms must be established to ensure aid reaches those in need, and to protect essential health, water, and food systems. Starvation as a weapon of war is unacceptable. Arms and aid must be conditioned on compliance with international humanitarian law. Transfers of military assistance should be frozen if there is a serious risk of grave breaches. Providing unconditional support risks complicity in violations. Accountability is paramount for all parties. We must support the International Criminal Court and domestic universal jurisdiction cases for all individuals targeting civilians. Justice must be pursued without bias or political interference. An immediate ceasefire must be paired with the release of all hostages and Palestinian detainees from Israeli jails too. This requires comprehensive agreements that include international monitoring to ensure compliance. The cycle of violence must be broken. The protection of worship and heritage sites is essential. Access to holy sites must be guaranteed for all faiths, and religious buildings safeguarded from attack. Attacks on religious communities are an early warning indicator of escalating violence and must be prosecuted. Finally, we must invest in de-escalation and long-term peacebuilding. This includes funding independent media to counter disinformation, providing trauma services for affected populations, and supporting civil society bridge builders. These efforts foster understanding and resilience. History explains the origins of this conflict, and international law provides a framework for justice. However, only principled and consistent action can stop mass atrocities. The time for decisive intervention is now. We urge you to share this information, engage in thoughtful discourse, and demand accountability from all actors. We will continue to provide fact-checked updates as this critical situation evolves. If this story moved you, don't let it end here. Share this video to spark conversation. Speak up for the right to live in dignity, to worship in freedom, and to protect children from the horrors of war. Remember, preventing genocide anywhere begins with awareness everywhere. You have the power to make a difference. Subscribe to the Turkish Odyssey to uncover hidden histories, to challenge silence with knowledge, and to join a community that believes in compassion over cruelty and truth over propaganda. Together, let's ensure that the tragedies of the past are not repeated in our future. Thank you for watching. See you in the next adventure.